What's going on, guys? My name is Alex. These are my co-hosts,
Brian.
Andrew.
and you're watching the Play by Play Pod. As the NFL season is approaching us, that comes with fantasy football. We are very avid in the fantasy football world, so now we're going to just list just one player each, a boom or a bust that we're expecting for this fantasy football season. AJ, do you want to lead us off with your boom of the
Okay.
season?
So if we're just going boom, this is a guy that we were actually talking about, I think yesterday or the day before, but with the whole Jahmyr Gibbs situation going on, and if his ADP doesn't change anytime soon, Monty's gotta be astronomically high with how good the offense was last year. Obviously, you're not gonna have the dynamic between the two, but I mean, if his ADP doesn't change, because it's only looking worse and worse for Jahmyr.
I thought
I
he was already
think-
out for the season. I thought they already said he was
no,
out for
not
the
yet,
season.
but
He's out for preseason.
it's not
Well-
looking good for his season. And I mean, he's getting drafted top 10, top 12.
Yeah.
So what do you think that's going to do for Monty's stock?
Yeah.
So I think for me, at least at his current ADP, it's a no-brainer.
I feel like he's going to be fine, like Gibbs, but obviously, especially in the beginning of the season, they're probably going to limit touches,
Yeah.
limit the workload kind of. So Monty could be that kind of guy where you can sneak in the 5th, 6th round and be happy with starting him.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I think, though, that you could sneak him in the 5th or 6th, but if Jahmyr's fine, it's going to be one of those picks like week 10 that you kind of regret taking. Although Monty isn't a terrible quarterback anyways, but
Running back.
Yep, quarterback.
yeah, my bad. That's on me.
Jared Goff to the
Hey,
seat.
as a Monty dynasty owner,
That's on me.
he was great last year. Very touchdown dependent, but he was
I know some ball. I
really
promise.
He
good.
got his touches in, though.
Yeah.
I mean, because they were only using him kind of Jahmyr as like a scat back or like a change of pace.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but pass catcher.
I think that either way, Monty, this is a big for Monty, especially like dynasty owners where you had no choice but to have Monty unless you want to trade him. This is kind of big, although you never want to hope somebody gets injured. This is kind of big because you're definitely going to see a bigger role for Jahmyr Gibbs this season. Like he was definitely going to be more relied on than he was last season. Speaking, I guess, of reliability and booms, what about you?
For a boom.
For a boom.
My boom, I guess when you think about it, it's not too out there, but I thought of a boom and I thought of Marvin Harrison Jr. You know,
I guess technically he's a rookie.
he's a rookie. He's getting drafted relatively high, top 16 for sure.
Yeah,
maybe
easy top 2
maybe I've
rounds.
seen him at the beginning of the second, which I don't think I would draft him that high. But
But you see the potential.
but there is a lot of potential there. There's who's gonna fight him for targets? Greg Dortch.
No,
I think that's the only
have
other
some
thing
respect
is,
for tight end.
Trey McBride, he's
Trey
gonna get
McBride.
his,
Have
but
some respect for the tight end AJ can't remember. Yeah,
Hey,
have some
I
respect.
didn't have him last year, but Pat did. So.
I mean, he just looks phenomenal. Marvin Harrison Jr. looks exact. If he's any ounce of what his dad was,
Well,
he will be very successful in the
I think it
NFL.
just-
And I think if you get him at the right price, then he's definitely going to be a boom for your team.
I think it just depends on if Kyler can stay healthy. I mean, I think then also there's a give and take when it comes to like, obviously you want to take a dude where his production isn't going to go down because he has other guys around him.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also a fall off to that if he's the only guy
He's getting
that's
covered
going to
more.
get. Yeah. But I think he's good enough to. I mean, that's how he was, even though he was on a very good Ohio State team. I understand college is different than the NFL, but he's used to being the guy, having 2 guys on him. So I think you're right with that. I think he's going to be all right.
Yeah. Who's your
So
boom?
I'm going to get certainly hate from this couch when I say I'm going to be a glazer right now and then a hater here in a second. I'm going to glaze the Colts. And I guess technically he's still boom because he was hurt literally all of last season. I think that if Anthony Richardson can stay healthy, he will be a big boom because with the way he was before he got hurt, it looked like you're going to get Lamar-like production from Anthony Richardson. Now, the health is a problem. Obviously, Lamar Jackson has perfected the art of not getting the big hit. Knock on wood, of course.
Asshole.
Sorry, but I think that Anthony Richardson, they're not going to change the way he is. They drafted him for a reason, and that's because he is a dynamic player, both running and throwing the ball. And I don't think they're going to roll back on the running just because of his injury. I think since he's obviously not going to be one of the top quarterbacks, he still might be one of the top quarterbacks to go. But because of that injury and because of all the uncertainty, he might sneak. And if you can get him, like you said, for Marvin Harrison, if you can get him for the right price, I think he's going to put up top 5 quarterback fantasy point numbers. Not top 5 quarterback as in the NFL. But if your league is heavy on rushing, I think that he'll put up top 5.
If he's getting drafted like, what would you say, like 5th, 6th round right now?
You think so?
I think so. Yeah.
I thought
just because the upside was good.
I thought just the durability was the issue.
If you get him in, the 5th round, you're comparing that to guys that you're drafting in the 3rd round, like a Jalen Hurts or a Lamar or a Pat Mahomes,
Josh Allen.
And if you get, that Lamar-like production, barring he stays healthy, then yeah, that's definitely a boom. I'll say my bust right now, just because it's kind of more in the recent news. This hurts because he's my boy. Well, his quarterback's my boy, but I think Justin Jefferson's going to be a bust this year.
I think he's still going to be great, but you're right.
JJ McCarthy with his meniscus having to be out the whole year. I think that with Sam Darnold stepping in as the starting quarterback is, it's tough because he hasn't really showed much. He showed a little spurts of potential, but
he was good. But J.J. Adams was good last year with.
Yeah, that's also true. He had like Nick Mullins throwing it to him, and he was still good. I guess when I say bust, I mean a bust for like Justin Jefferson.
He's 1-1.
Bust,
yeah.
Right?
He's going to go 1-1-1-2.
He's the highest paid receiver. Before you would think if he had Kirk Cousins still, he's getting drafted top 3.
I think he's.
But now with the downgrade in quarterback, I think his ADP is showing that he's getting drafted a little bit lower, and I think that the production is going to be a little lower compared to where you think Justin Jefferson should be and where he has been the last couple seasons.
I think you're going to draft Justin Jefferson as obviously not only the wide receiver 1 on your team, but the wide receiver 1 in the entire fantasy thing. Don't get me wrong, I don't think that he's going to slip out of the top 5 of total points wide receiver wise, but you really want your wide receiver 1 to be your wide receiver 1, and I think you're right. Technically, he would be a bust if he's not.
Mm-hmm.
Since I'm talking, I'll say mine. This is where I'll be a hater because I glazed the Colts, and now I'm going to do what I can to bash the very good Houston Texans.
That's crazy.
The bust, I think. Now, I haven't done a whole lot of draft research, so I'm not sure where this guy is going draft-wise. I'm just thinking off of production he had last year and production he's going to have this year.
I already know he's going to say.
A big bust for fantasy will be Stephon Diggs.
That's fair.
I think that CJ Stroud has built up this is one of those things where they have a lot of weapons.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They got obviously Tank Dell, who CJ Stroud has a great connection with.
Nico
Collins, who I almost said Nick Mullins again. Nico Collins, who he obviously has a great relationship with. They have no slouch at tight end with Dalton Schultz. So I think that you're going to see Stephon Diggs. You're used to Stephon Diggs putting up those wide receiver.
Adding Joe Mixon into the bunch as well.
You're used to Stephon Diggs putting up those top tier wide receiver numbers because he was kind of the only weapon on his team. I mean, the Buffalo Bills, he was kind of the great marriage for a fantasy guy because he was the main guy on his team, but they had enough weapons.
10, 15 targets a game.
And so I just don't see that production.
With Houston, there's a lot of mouths to feed.
Oh, so many. And I think that although CJ Stroud is great, well, he's not great yet. He's good. Great would be all time, obviously. I think that Diggs will be fine, but I think he'll be a bust compared to past seasons of Stephon Diggs.
Sure.
Okay, that's fair. Late first, early second. Okay.
You think he'd go late first, early second?
No. I meant like before.
Before he was getting drafted.
He's probably going like
he's going like
third.
beginning of the third right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say
middle third.
Yeah.
That's just
mine was more of a bust off of like production of season.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right. We've heard he's gonna be great every year. I am buying it. Not because he's got a good quarterback now. I still not buying it. Don't draft Kyle Pitts. Don't do it. I am buying it.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it.
I'm gonna dive into the Kyle Pitts, Drake London. I'll go head first into Kyle Pitts, Drake London.
I think Kirk is great, obviously, and I mean shit. There's a reason why they paid him so much money. I just
They don't even
something's
think
off
Kurt's
there.
great.
It just doesn't work with Kyle Pitts. So I don't know what it is. But he's not a guy that I want to be looking at, especially with how deep the tight end pool is now.
Yeah.
You don't need to take a chance on a guy where you can get surefire guys similarly rounded.
He would have to fall pretty far for
Yeah,
me to
I think-
take a risk on him,
All right,
just
I got-
because. I mean, I had him last year in one of our leagues, and
1 to
he
2
was a
points.
guy that was on the fringe of me dropping him.
Yeah.
And he's one of
And
those
I
guys.
drafted him top 6 rounds. Like, it's just the production is just has not been there yet. Desmond Ritter was throwing to him. So you'd like to think it'd be more of an improvement with Kirk, but like you said, at this point, the project has to be over at some point.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting too because you get a lot of those backup quarterbacks that we were talking about, Nicky Mullins, and a lot of those. The tight end's a safety valve.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like fantasy wise, when Jimmy Garoppolo went down, and Nick Mullins was their backup,
Kittle's going
Kittle saw
crazy.
a lot of targets.
Yeah.
And I think that's how a lot of backup quarterbacks roll. The fact that they had not a great quarterback in Desmond Ritter and Kyle Pitts still didn't get production. All right, one more question before we move on. It could be a homer pick. I'm not going to ask you because obviously would you take Dalton Schultz over Kyle Pitts
If I,
as a
That's
fantasy owner, not a Houston Texans fan or as a
obviously,
franchise?
obviously. I think
Obviously, if
I
you
think
could
you're
use
drafting
Kyle Pitts.
two entirely different things. Like, I would say yes, only because if I'm drafting a tight end that late, I'm just going, okay, hopefully he's going to give me 10 to 12 points a week. I'm hoping.
And I would ask him, but obviously they have Andrews. Obviously Andrews is very
Yeah,
good. They
yeah.
also have Isaiah Likely, who's very good. And the Colts, obviously, I'd still take Kyle Pitts over Mo Alley Cox. So
Yeah. Yeah, I would only say that yes because I mean, yeah, it does suck that he's got so many. Well, it doesn't suck as a fan, but he's gonna have a lot of competition for targets. But yeah, it's like you said, he was that guy that you were okay. Do I drop Kyle Pitts? Oh, but he
you
he
draft
saw
him so
6
high.
targets,
You drafted him so
Oh.
high.
so it's like
It's one of those things where you draft him so high, you can't drop him.
yeah. Whereas Dalton Schultz, you're gonna get him in the later rounds, and you never know. He could be solid option. I'm not gonna say great, but solid.
When- now that we're talking fantasy, since we're talking fantasy, that means the football season's around. Obviously, it's still early. Preseason just started. But I don't want to do every division. That might take too much. But let's start off, see how it goes. Let's go short. Division winners, I guess. Who do you think goes into the playoffs
Okay.
for this?
Well, they
coming season.
expanded the playoffs, right? So now it's
Let's just do division
Well,
winners then.
okay.
Division winners.
Or
Okay.
we could do best, like most improved team, and the team you think sucks this year.
Okay, from what the AFC, NFC?
Yeah, we'll do the best team out of the AFC, worst team in the AFC, best team in the
Okay.
NFC.
You
Would
wanna
you like to start?
take us home with the AFC or NFC first?
Yeah. Let's see. So we're going most improved. Who I think is going to be the most improved.
We'll just do best.
Okay. So who's going to win the AFC?
Yeah, let's do AFC championship, NFC champion.
Okay. Let's see. Top of my head, I think of NFC. I'm gonna go with the Detroit Lions. Detroit Lions.
Okay.
Even with the Jahmyr Gibbs injury, I think
Yeah,
towards that end of the season, right? You would like to think, you would like to hope that he'd be up and healthy. I mean, you just think of the firepower they have. Amon-Ra on the outside,
Yeah.
the 1-2 punch with the Thunder and Lightning with Monty and Gibbs, and then Jared Goff is no slouch. He's showed that he can be a productive, not amazing quarterback, but he gets the job done. And then at the end of the day, you have Dan Campbell as your head coach. Those guys are bought in. They're gonna fight for him.
You're going for it.
And they were so close last year. Great game.
That's a bad play call.
Just unlucky,
Not taking
So
the
I
points.
think that
It's like me in college.
they're
football.
gonna learn from last season and get there. So I think for the NFC, I'll say the Lions, and for the AFC, I'm never not gonna pick my boys. I'm gonna go with the Baltimore Ravens. This year, we like to say it. This year's our year, but
Cowboys
we
of
were
the
a
AFC.
play away, a fumble away from the Super Bowl last year, and we went toe to toe with the Chiefs. Just a couple mistakes that can easily be fixed. Lamar coming off of a second MVP season. We like to think he could produce just as much. Zay Flowers getting a second year in. So I think obviously adding Derrick Henry in the backfield as well.
I forgot about that.
That's going to be the best rushing team in the NFL, I would like to think, with Lamar and Derrick Henry. So, yeah, and our defense is no slouch, too. First team All-Pro Kyle Hamilton,
Lost
drafted
Queen, though.
Nate Wiggins. Lost Queen, but we have Roquan Smith, who makes up about 2-3 Patrick Queens.
That's true. Roquan
So-
Smith makes up 2 or 3 of almost everybody.
I'll say what it should have been last year, Ravens versus the Lions in the Super Bowl. That's my prediction.
All right, I'll bounce back, and I'm going to go boring. You said good enough quarterback. I'm going to go with the other good enough quarterback, the team that actually won that game.
49ers?
Yeah. I think the 49ers. I think you know what you're getting with Purdy, especially with all those weapons, Ayuk or not.
I'm about to say, is
In my
this with Ayuk signing
In
with
my
them
opinion,
or without? It doesn't matter.
This speaks more towards, I guess, Kyle Shanahan as a coach.
Mhm.
I don't think it matters.
Fair.
Brandon Ayuk is an unbelievable talent, but the way they run that offense, I don't think it matters. Their defense, obviously, amazing. They're all back, too. They haven't really lost any main guys. You could argue that they were a torn Achilles away from
Damn.
contending in that Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Don't get hyped during the before the game starts.
no. It was during the game.
Oh, was
He
it?
just tore it on the sidelines.
okay, he
running
just
onto
went
the
back
field.
on
Was
the
running
field.
onto the
Oh, okay,
field.
okay.
Yeah. He went to plan to go onto the field.
Yeah.
Dre Greenlaw, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, they did the stats of how many yards that his backup gave up, and Greenlaw's not giving that. So I think it might be the 49ers. I'm going to go with the rematch. I think that they're a dynasty for a
Boring.
reason.
Hey, boring,
it's
but
boring.
it's
It's boring, but
boring.
you can't.
I'm
If they
going
weren't
out
with-
of the box.
Chiefs are mid.
And oddly enough, I'm going to get some hate for this. The only other team that I can see contending is Houston Texans.
No way.
Yes, sir.
No way.
Yeah, I really think so.
Mm.
I think
No
the
way.
Houston
Too
Texans can
young.
contend. I think
Too
the Houston
young.
Texans can defend.
No way.
I think, I guess I'll just leave it at that. I think that if it's not,
So your prediction is the 49ers Chiefs
yeah,
for the 500th millionth
yes,
time.
yes, we're going.
I'm
We're actually.
going crazy.
I think
They're going bold.
I'm
Indianapolis
bold.
Colts.
Hell no. All right, well, I'm gonna go with the AFC, and I think you give me this guy healthy, he's going to the Super Bowl and he's gonna win that thing. But before I say that,
Just teaser us.
yeah, that's my Super Bowl prediction. But I'm going with the Bengals.
Oh,
You give me Shady Joe.
cut his
Hey,
hair.
So
He was
gross.
short, and now he's.
He looks like Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, he does. The American Nightmare. Yeah, I just like what the Bengals do. Obviously they lost Joe Mixon. It's not gonna be the same, but they still got T. Higgins for now. He still got Jamar Chase, and I would say a serviceable enough running game. I mean, if you really looked at the numbers, Joe Mixon wasn't that productive regardless. So it might be a little weight off their shoulders that they don't have to feed their guy. And just kind of go with best back at the time or who's hot hand. I've always liked that, but obviously it helps to have a guy there that you can trust. So that's my pick for the AFC, the Bengals. Love it or hate it, he's the only guy that can take out Mahomes in the playoffs. So you got to give the guy his props. Like I said, when healthy, hopefully he's healthy. That's my pick. But and then for the NFC, I'm going out the box. You aren't even thinking this.
Seahawks.
Hell no.
What the?
Not with the new coach. I'm
The goat.
going with the Packers.
I was thinking them.
I
was
like
thinking
the
them.
Packers this year. Because I was rattling through my head. They played the 49ers tough.
Jordan loves the truth.
Yeah, obviously they just seem to beat the Cowboys every year. I don't know
Beat the
why.
brakes off them boys.
So, I don't know what they do, but they just know how to play. And they lost Aaron Jones, and he's a bit of a dog, but it's not
Got
like they
Jacobs.
downgraded.
Got
They
Jacobs,
got Josh
yeah.
Jacobs. And those
Arguably an
receivers are only gonna
improvement.
get better with Jordan. So yeah, those are my guys. So I got
Bengals
the
versus the
Bengals versus the Packers. That's
I
my
will say
picks.
this.
I respect that. I respect that.
I will say
Yeah.
this. This is a little outside the box too. I think a team that could compete. I'm not saying they might even be the champions of the AFC or whatever, but they're certainly going to be better than last season. Achilles holding up. The Jets
Yeah, it's funny. I was thinking them
are
too.
pretty good. The only thing is, I don't know if Salah.
Yeah, he's not that guy.
I think they have the talent for it. They certainly have the talent for it if Rodgers can stay healthy and
yeah.
is
Garrett,
80 to
Brees.
90% of what Aaron Rodgers normally is.
Signing Mike Williams. I mean, that offense is kind of scary.
Yeah,
If
offense
they
is
could all
scary.
stay healthy. They're just all really.
You gotta have a
It's
guy at
hard
the
for
helm
him.
for it though.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so I guess we'll see, but that's like a surprise one, I guess. Or like
And that
no, no.
defense is really fucking good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Their
no.
defense is
They
fucking
didn't
really
get
good.
worse. I mean, you got the whole Hassan Reddick situation, but
Eagles are bums.
Yeah, well,
not the Eagles.
mean-
they got rid of him.
yeah, he's a Jet. Hassan Reddick's a Jet.
Jets are bums. That was
They traded. What I don't get, we'll go into this discussion. What I don't get is you traded. He was going to hold out from the Eagles because he didn't get contract.
Yep.
So you traded him, and
Yep.
now you're surprised. that
knowing
he's
he
holding
wants
out.
a contract,
And now you're surprised that he
Shocker.
doesn't
and
want
you're
a
not going to
contract.
give him a contract. It's arguably as dumb as Jerry Jones saying, "Yeah, we're not really worried about giving CD Lamb a contract. He doesn't need it."
As he,
Lost
pro-
all the leverage right
as
there.
he proceeds to X and goes, "LOL."
Yeah, Brandon Cooks, wide receiver one.
Oh, that'd be electric.
Yeah, I mean, do you guys just throwing this out there? You know, I gotta shout out my boy. How many games do we think the Chicago Bears are gonna win with Caleb Williams at the helm?
I'd have to see
They
their
got a tough
schedule.
division, bro.
I'd have to look at their schedule. 'Cause,
Their
I mean, yeah,
division is tough.
their division is a little.
You play the Lions,
It's a little
the-
crazy
the
now.
Vikings, and the Packers
Vikings might
twice
be
a
a-
year.
The Vikings might be a little easy now, though. Not even
Yeah.
having to worry. I mean, shit, gotta go get Sam Darnold twice a year. I don't know.
Okay, so as we talk about this, I'm gonna pull this up real quick.
That's
I
an
gotta
L.
put my mic down real quick though.
That's an L.
Okay, so that's preseason.
Yep.
Okay, so here we go.
Okay,
Okay,
that's
so
a
we'll
dub.
just go through the schedule real quick. Do this a little quick.
Wow, I'm blind.
Against Titans.
I'm saying they have a
Hold on, let
dub.
me see who's. Okay, so Bears are home against
Remember,
the Titans.
bottom team's home.
Yeah, the bottom team's home.
Copy that.
Got you. What the hell?
Great, nowhere to go.
Where'd it go, George?
I got it. If I didn't.
Okay.
you go.
So we're gonna have
Okay.
them start 1-1. Or I say 1-0 against
Yeah,
the
1-0.
Titans.
Titans.
It ain't Will Levis season.
Yeah, Bears beat the Titans starting off 1-0.
Yes. 1-1.
Bears at Texans.
1-1.
Come on now, you know.
1-1.
You know.
Bears at Colts.
1-2.
2-1.
1-2.
2-1.
That's
Healthy,
gonna be
that's
a
1 and
good
2.
game.
2-1.
That's gonna be a good
easily.
game.
That's 1-2.
2-1 easily.
That's 1-2.
I say 1-2.
That defense could not keep up with the Chicago Bears offense. Who's guarding Keenan, Roman Dunze, and DJ Moore on the Colts defense?
I don't know, but they'll figure it out. Who's stopping AR?
The Bears have a
Or
good
JT.
defense.
The Bears have a good defense.
Bears have a good defense.
Bears have a good defense.
I'm going 2-0, but if you guys want to overrule me and go 1-2,
2-0.
that's fine.
You mean 2-1?
2-1.
I'm gonna go 1-2.
I'm gonna go 1-2.
Racism.
Okay.
Rams at the Bears.
2-2.
So you'll give you what? You have
2-2.
them
Yeah, they're
beating
better than the
Rams?
Yes.
So you think the Rams are better than the Colts or worse than the Colts?
Yes.
With
It's a
Matt-
home
with
game.
Matt
It's a
Stafford.
home game.
I don't care. It's Soldier Field. It's not freaking Fort Knox.
I mean,
It might be.
You think the Colts are better than the Rams? That's
Yes.
what you're saying.
Yes.
yes. Yeah.
No way. Okay, you
They
guys
just
are.
lost Aaron Donald.
You guys are okay. They have Matt Stafford, Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp. Who do you think the Colts have on fucking defense?
I'm gonna say that's a win.
Oh my God,
I'm gonna say 2-2.
crazy.
And now they're gonna move to 3-2.
Panthers
Look at
at the Bears.
3-2.
3-2.
4-2. Look at that.
Jags at the Bears.
4-2.
4-2.
See, like that's gonna be a better game than the Colts Bears game. That's
No,
crazy.
we're
Whatever.
not
4-2.
No,
Bears
that's,
at the Commanders.
that's 5-2.
That's 5-2.
5-2. Bears at
Shocking
Bears at Cardinals.
Upset?
6-2.
I got 6-2.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll give you that.
Patriots at the Bears.
You know what's odd?
7-2.
You know what's odd? You know what's odd? Is if that was Bill Belichick, I'd say 6-3
Well, it's not.
because it's rookie quarterback.
Yeah,
But
but
Gerard
it's not.
Mayo. It's Gerard Mayo and Jacoby Brissett.
Or Joe Milton season.
True. So we're at what 6-2. We have.
damn, they get all their division games towards the
I
end.
mean,
when they
look
need
at
to
that
push.
cupcake schedule. You go.
That's
Yeah, but
Colts,
we'll watch this. We'll watch this.
Rams,
We'll
Panthers.
watch when we scroll.
Yeah, this is where it goes down here. So what? They're 7-2 or 6-2?
Crazy.
They're 7-2 right now.
I think we're being a little generous to the Chicago Bears, to be honest with you. But they do have
So,
a cupcake schedule. to start.
They're starting off 1-2. Then going 2-2, 3-2, 4-2, 5-2, 6-2.
Winning
Okay.
streak.
7-2. That is
7-3.
obviously probably not going to happen. But
hey, the Packers, you know who owns those?
Packers at the Bears.
7-3.
Go
7-3.
7-3. Vikings at the Bears. I think they split.
I think they split. I think they both win their home games.
Okay, so 8-3.
Okay.
Bears
8-4.
at Lions.
L.
8-4.
L. Bears at 49ers.
8-5.
L. Bears at Vikings.
8-6.
Okay,
I
yeah.
gotta stay
Split 'em.
true
We
to what I
Split
said.
them. Lions
they
at Bears. They might split.
I'd
but
take the
I'll
Lions.
still give them the
I'll
L.
take the Lions.
I'll still give them the L. So what is that?
I'll take the
8 and
Lions.
7.
8-7.
Seahawks at Bears. I'll give it to the Bears.
I'll go with the Bears.
I'll go with the
You know, last year the Bears beat the Packers in Lambeau.
Yeah.
Do you
That was a
think
weird game though.
Do you think they beat the Packers
Didn't
here
Justin
to
Fields go
possibly send them
crazy
to
that
the
game?
possibly send them to the postseason at 10 and 7?
I don't think the Bears go to the postseason their first season. I think Caleb Williams would be fine.
So you're giving them an L.
I'll give him the L. Yeah.
9 and 7.
That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I think their over under in Vegas is literally 8.5. So that would,
All right.
That makes sense.
you know, I'm generous. Caleb Williams was the truth. I'll give him 10 and 7,
All
making
right.
the playoffs his first season.
You haven't beaten the Packers in week. You
I love him.
haven't been Dynasty?
Yeah, how many times has the USC
I don't wanna
quarterback
talk
worked
about
out in the NFL?
Carson Palmer was really good.
Oh, my bad.
Okay.
What about Matt Barkley,
Yeah.
Sam Darnold?
Great
Matt Leinart,
backups.
Mark Sanchez?
Great
Mark
backups.
Sanchez.
Mark Sanchez went to the AFC Championship his first year.
Butt fumble.
Then
We don't have to talk about it. Matt Leiter, Texas legend.
Stop.
so is Schwab.
Bills legend.